Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and let me tell you what, I cannot get over how hot it is outside. My youngest son was just telling me he did not want to go hit baseballs today. It's just too hot. I picked him up from school, and it is so brutally hot out there. We're in a major heat wave right now, but sometimes you do what you got to do. I went on a walk today, and I'm telling you what, after I go on a 1 hour walk, it's like you're tired the rest of the day. This heat is really getting to everybody. Hopefully this thing will be over soon. I wanted to show you this. This is a great visualization right here. I've told you many times on this channel that I own some Bitcoin, and I've told you the reasons, but one of the reasons is the scarcity, the fact that it was the first one through the door, and the scarcity of it, the fact that there will only be 21 million. This from Rhythm Trader is a visualization of that. The supply of Bitcoin versus the world's population, 867 times 867 pixels represents 7.5 billion people in the world. 46 by 46 pixels represents 21 million Bitcoin. Imagine when the world realizes how scarce Bitcoin is. And this is your visualization. So if you own some, even one, you're in a group that's that small of people. And I've heard people say it before, and I'll say it again. I do believe that there will be a time when people won't be able to get a Bitcoin. And that, when people aren't able to get a Bitcoin, I hope that I'm able to hold on to what I have until that day. Because if I'm holding on to it on that day, then there will be no worries on my end. That's for sure. Okay. Next, enough said, boom. Now this is really awesome, and I decided I would go and look for myself. I got this from Michael at VAL5 Links. Enough said, boom. Comparative fees. He's comparing MoneyGram to Western Union, and I couldn't tell where he was getting the information. He didn't have anything attached to it, so I decided to go to the source. I went to Western Union's website, and he used the example of sending money to Namibia, I guess is how you'd say that. I need to check with the official language snob of the Digital Asset Investor channel on that. We'll check in with him soon so that I can confirm some of these, that I'm saying some of these words right. But we'll go with Namibia. Western Union, what I did is I told them I wanted to send 5,000 US dollars, and that it would come out, it would $5,000 to Namibia, and then here's your exchange rate for a cash pickup, and here's your fee on $5,000, $50. Okay. Then I went over to MoneyGram's website, and I did the exact same thing. $5,000, and I want that to go to Namibia, right? Where does it say? There it is, right there. Namibia. I'm going to Namibia, and do you know what your fee is? The total cost is $5,004.99. $4.99 versus $50. How long do you think Western Union is going to be able to compete with that? The answer is not very long if they're in business. I would bet anything that these guys and everybody else in their business is ringing Ripple's phones off the hook right now. Or they're asking Ripple if they want to buy them. One or the other. I mean, if you ever wondered about whether it's, because remember, the whole point of the MoneyGram deal is for MoneyGram to, quote, deploy XRP, folks. It's not just to use Ripple software. Deploy XRP. And do you think, how many other companies do you think that compete with MoneyGram are looking at this and saying, no way, this is not good? So just sit back and relax. Don't worry about the ridiculous 29-cent price or whatever it is today. That's not relevant to what's coming. Okay, this is from, let me see if I can pull it's the Infidel. At the Infidel 3 sent me this. Let me see, I left this open. Let's close that out. This was a Kevin OLeary tweet. Kevin OLeary is now using the level the playing field talk. Nothing has worked to level the playing field with China regarding IP protection and access to their markets. Time to do whatever it takes to fix this once and for all. So Kevin OLeary, who we know is a big Bitcoin fan because we saw the real video of him from a few years back. Okay, and then I Am Legion sent me this. Give him a follow, by the way. He provides great information all day, every day. He sent this to me. Credit card debt forgiveness comes at a price. Now remember, I showed you an article where Canada had gone, or Chase, I believe it was Chase Bank, had announced that they were going to forgive the credit card debt of all of their customers in Canada, and that they were getting out of the Canadian market. And we were talking about what kind of red flags that sends off. There's got to be some major reason behind the scenes that Chase would do such a thing. They must be, I can only imagine what the problem is. But I wanted to make one point that's in this article to those of you, if anything like this happens in the United States. And that is, if your credit card debt is forgiven for any reason, the way that, I don't know how it's handled in other countries, but if, let's say you owe $5,000 in credit card debt and you live in the United States, well, the good old IRS, they see that, the bank will write that $5,000 off, but that becomes income to you because you were in essence just told, okay, well, that $5,000 you no longer owe, and so that's considered income to you now by the IRS. So you have to pay taxes on the $5,000 that was forgiven. And a lot of people don't know that. And that's a very good thing and worthy of being mentioned. Okay, now, this I thought was interesting and definitely worth people knowing. From Zero Hedge, when Jeffrey Epstein, the death where he hung himself in the cell supposedly, it was first reported by 4chan Anon. I think this is the organization Anonymous online. Claimed hanging, cardiac arrest. And they are referring to that 4chan Anon had posted that he had died before it ever hit the news. That's kind of creepy and wild. It's kind of a sign of the times, isn't it? The internet media is more powerful than the traditional media, is what that says to me. Jonathan D at XRP_YD7 sent me this tweet. Donald Trump says, our intelligence has informed us that the Chinese government is moving troops to the border with Hong Kong. Everyone should be calm and safe. I saw somewhere down here where Anthony Pompliano, he says, Twitter knew that 3 days ago, President Trump, about how the Chinese government was moving troops to the border. But anyway, the point is that the world is starting to burn if you really look around, and I'll show you some more examples. This one really creeped me out right here. Police officer had his baton taken from him and was attacked with it, drew his pistol and aimed it at the protesters, astonished nobody killed here tonight. Well, in a situation like this, folks, we all know that's all it'll take for this thing to really go off. To really go off is for someone to pull out a gun trying to that's in this protest, and if the gun even accidentally goes off, there's no telling what could be triggered with this over there. It's really scary what all is going on, both geopolitically and economically. Now let's look at some other scary things that are going on. Hong Kong, these are just a few headlines. This is from the Drudge Report. Hong Kong protesters pose challenge to Chinese communist rule, wave American flags, sing national anthem, military forces mass at border, unprecedented violence, updates, Sky News Live, riot police storm 8 Hong Kong video, battle for freedom, Trump neutral. Now look at this. Out of control. Federal spending sets new record. Deficit widens 27%. American household debt nears 14 trillion. Mortgage debt hits record, eclipsing 2008 peak. Average farm 1.3 million in the red. Scary times ahead, folks. I keep saying it. Now, look at this. From Lionel at Lionel 462-94550 sent me this. Well, this is something I had seen earlier, and I had tweeted about it. Fed considers new tool for downturn. Now, remember, during the financial crisis, every time we have a financial crisis, most of which has been ultimately created by the Fed, they start using all of these marketing terms to sell what they're about to do to the people. And oftentimes, I remember Ben Bernanke used to say, we have several tools that we can use. And all the tools involve either bringing interest rates down to ridiculous levels or printing your money. Or stealing money from the taxpayer, whether it's through a bailout. Bail-ins will be the next one. It is all kinds of methods that have been created behind the scenes, and then when they finally come out and start telling you about them, they refer to them as tools. And when they really mean devaluing your money or putting interest rates at a ridiculously low level so that you can't even save anything. And it's all because they've never been willing to do the responsible, or the politicians and them have never been willing to walk to the microphone and tell the citizens, look, we're going to have to tighten our belts and do the right thing for the long run instead of continuing to do all this cowardly short run stuff. Well, this is their new tool. Anytime you hear new tool, what it means is you're about to hear another Fed marketing term, which is code for one of the things I just said. Well, this one they're going to call a counter-cyclical capital buffer. Every time we have one of these financial crises and they start getting scared, they start rolling out all these new seemingly sophisticated financial terms that we are all too stupid to understand. But it's a counter-cyclical capital buffer. And then last time it was quantitative easing. It sounds so sophisticated, does it not? Or TARP, what was it? The something asset relief protection. It's all for your protection. But what they really mean is it's all for the government and the politicians' protection in the short run, so that you're not showing up at their gates. Is what it really means. Is protect their protection in the short run to protect their flank. Well, now I don't think this is a coincidence. This is from the Federal Reserve's Twitter handle. It's like they're trying to market. They're trying to literally market the Federal Reserve as being this great thing for the people, and the reason they're doing it is because they know what's coming. It has to be. It's not a coincidence that this is happening now. This is from today. The Federal Reserve, often referred to as the Fed, is the central bank of the United States. Congress created the Fed in 1913 to help promote a safe and sound monetary and financial system for our nation. Learn more. And they've even put out a video for you to watch. Now, if you want to find out what the people really think about all this bunk, go and look in the comments section of this, and you will see that the people are not buying what they're selling. Now, if you really want to learn about the Fed, go watch this video that I've told you about on this channel many times. It's a book that was written. It's called The Creature from Jekyll Island, and it was written by this G. Edward Griffin, and he describes what this book is about. This is, if you ever want to watch something, if you really want to understand what how the Fed was created, and you want something that actually makes sense, go watch this, because the way the Fed was actually created is there were, I can't remember the number of men, but it was 3 to 5 men that met in secret in Jekyll Island off the coast of Georgia, and they all got together and actually went there in separate trains, is the way I remember the story. Went there separately and it was a completely secret mission, and they were representatives of some of the wealthiest people in the country, and had political people that they had in their pockets for one reason or another. And those are the people that created the Federal Reserve on Jekyll Island in secret, and then went back and had their politicians that they more or less owned do their bidding for them and make it look like it was Congress' idea and the people's idea. That is how the Federal Reserve was created, and it was created to create the ultimate monopoly on money and to control the money and the people, period. And they know it. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button, and tell your friends and family to go watch The Creature from Jekyll Island on YouTube if you really want to see what the deal is. Thank you for listening.